I probably should have given a spoiler alert before we got into this. But I was so excited. Sorry. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to a Stalk My Life 101. So it's Sunday, it's 9 o'clock, you know what that means. It is time for a Once Upon a Time recap review or whatever. Oh my goodness, I live for Once Upon a Time. Okay, so this episode centered around what everybody was waiting for from the promo from last Sunday, which was the story of Hades and Zelina. And just as we suspected, Hades and Zelina did have some kind of torrid, tumultuous love affair that literally lasted like 24 hours. So for all of you who thought that Hades was the father of Zelina's baby, you were incorrect. Robin Hood is still the father. So let's kind of go back. So the episode starts off with the focus of Zelina and Hades. Hades is by himself. He's looking at the picture and he's reminiscing about how he met Zelina. So what I liked about this episode was that, yes, it's still focused on Hades, but we got a little bit of Oz and we saw some kind of tricked out Xena-looking Dorothy Gale. Okay. That was insane. So it goes back to when Hades and Zelina first met. They met in Oz. Zelina was trying to put together some sort of time traveling spell. You know, she needed like a brain, the heart of the innocent. So they brought in the Scarecrow, and she needed the Scarecrow's brain. But then Dorothy came in like Xena, like,
hey, you are not taking, okay, the Scarecrow.
And she's like, I have something that you don't have. It's the love of the people. And you are not getting the Scarecrow. You ain't getting it, girl. Now, Zelina is like, what the flip no squad? Where did you come from? What's happening with your life? And she decides to, like, she tries to cast a spell, but Dorothy, like, ducks. And it actually gets the bodyguard or whatever. And she takes off with the Scarecrow. So now Zelina's like, oh, how did she know that we were here? Because Dorothy had said that she heard that she was the queen and that she could not let her rule Oz. So they're all like, how did she get here? Da, 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 da. So she calls a meeting for the Munchkins. And she was like, somebody needs to talk. Hades appears. And Hades like, I'm going to help you. So it's very interesting that in Once Upon a Time, okay, they are trying to do this Back to the Future spell. If only she had, like, conjured up Doc Brown, he could have told her all she needed was a DeLorean, a flux capacitor, some plutonium. It's a whole lot easier than trying to get everything that they're trying to get. I'm just saying. But I ain't. So Hades is like, well, I need to get back in time too. And they start to bond over the fact that they have these hatred feelings toward their siblings. Now, the thing is that Zelina never met Regina, and she hated Regina because Cora chose her as the child to keep. Hades actually has an issue with his brother because his brother actually did some stuff to him. So Hades, being the manipulative fool that he is, plays into all that. And he's like, I can help you, this, that, and the third. And they start bonding over that. So how they fall in love is that she needed to find Dorothy Gale, and he took her to the spot where the house fell, and she didn't know what a bicycle was because he pulled the bicycle out, and he's all like, put a tracking spell basically on it, like, cast a spell and it'll take you right to Dorothy because the bike is a part of Dorothy. So before that happens, like, he just shows her the bike and they take a bike ride, and he, like, falls in love with her. Now, after that, he tells her to put the tracking device on. He puts the tracking device on. He gets her. And she's, like, really proud of herself. She gets the Scarecrow's brain. She freezes Dorothy. And she lets Dorothy hear this whole spiel. And it raises a question because she says, where did all this sass come from? Back up, correction. I don't really care. And now I feel like they might delve into that story a little bit of, like, how Dorothy Gale got back to Oz and why she's all of a sudden, like, Xena tricked out. Because we all want to know. So that happened. So then she goes to turn around to, like, be like, Hades, look at what I did. And Hades is not there. So she gets angry. So she goes back to her castle in Oz. And Hades is there setting up dinner. And she's all like,
what are you doing here? Like, you just left, blah, blah, blah.
And he's like,
no, I saw. But then I wanted to make dinner.
She's like, oh.
Okay.
And so that happens, and Hades is like,
I think I've fallen in love with you.
and she's like,
What? We just met. That can't be possible.
and so he's like,
No, for real, like, I really think I'm in love with you.
and at first she was gonna fall for it, because he's all like,
We could be together, let's just true love's kiss, da 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 da.
and she's like,
Do you think I'm stupid? You want to kiss me so you can become human and you can take my spell and you can go back to your brother.
and he's all like,
Zelina, no.
but I think that's really what he was trying to do. So Zelina was like,
No, I don't need you. You're not going to get the spell and you can just go back to hell or wherever you came from.
and like a typical man that just got rejected, he's like,
You will regret this.
and he like blew smoke and he's gone. So now you're probably wondering, what does that all have to do with present day? So when the episode began with Hades, he had Rumpelstiltskin spinning gold out of straw, and Rumpelstiltskin's pretty much just like getting information out of him. And I don't remember if he said why he needed the baby, but he needed Zelina's baby. And he said that
If you get me Zelina's baby, then I will let you keep your baby, and you don't have to tell Mrs. Dark One, okay, that her baby actually belongs to me.
so he's like, fine, whatever. He threads the gold rope, he puts it in a circle, then he cuts his hand with the dagger, or with a dagger, and he puts the blood on it, and a portal begins. Now, the portal was leading to Storybrooke. Before the portal actually opens, they go to Storybrooke, and it was actually really nice because we got to see Mother Superior for a minute. And Mother Superior comes down, and she's like gonna feed the baby, and Belle goes to visit them, and she's like, what's wrong? Like, something seems wrong. And she's like, no, nothing's wrong. And then another Mother Superior appears, and she's like, no, everything's wrong. Who are you? And it turns out that, of course, it was Zelina, and she was going to go take her baby. And Belle is like, Zelina, like, you wouldn't hurt your child. She's like,
No, but I would hurt you. So back up because I'm going to take my daughter.
all of a sudden, like, there's an earthquake, and everybody is all like, Zelina, stop. And Zelina's like, bro, it's not me. And a portal opens into the floor, and as that happens, as the huge distraction, Belle snatches the baby. Belle and the baby fall into the portal, and Zelina's like,
No!
and she jumps into the portal. So now Zelina, the unnamed mystery hooded baby, and Belle are in Underbrook. So of course when people see them, they're like, oh my gosh. So Zelina, when they got in, she kind of like twisted her ankle, and she has no powers, so she couldn't like fix it, and Belle took the baby and just walked off. And she ended up finding Rumple, and Rumple admitted that like he's still the Dark One, and this, that, and the third. And Rumple basically told Belle that she was like a basic trick. So he was like, Belle's like,
You're the Dark One again.
he's like,
Yeah, I am the Dark One, but let's be honest, you fell in love with the man and the beast.
and Belle's like,
No.
and he's like,
Yeah, and if you want to be with me, he's like, I love you, but I also love the dagger. When I was a coward man, I craved power. The difference between that man and this man is that now I actually have the power, and I'm not giving that up for anyone. But I can love you both.
and Belle's all like,
I will not condone this.
and he's like,
Well, you need to make a decision, because we can be together, or like, nah. I want to be with you, but like, choice is all yours.
so Belle's like,
Well, I'm not going to make a decision until you fix all of this.
and Rumple's like,
Then I'll fix it.
so basically what you're saying is that you met a bad boy, and you fell in love with the sweet side of the bad boy, but you don't want to accept, what? You don't want to accept that the overall persona of your husband is that he's a power-hungry ogre. So Belle finds out that she's pregnant because he tells her that she's pregnant. He explains that, you know, Hades made him do it, and that, you know, she's pregnant. And it kind of sucked for Belle because she found out that she was pregnant, and that she was going to have a baby with the love of her life, and the love of her life is still the Dark One, but now he's like the most powerful Dark One, and that Hades could potentially take their child. Not a good way to find out about your child. All while Charming and Snow White are trying to figure out a way of, like, speaking to Neil, which that creepy lady, who I guess is supposed to be the witch in the house from Hansel and Gretel, she tells them a way of, like, it's called haunting, and they go into a toll booth, and they pretty much call their son, and their son, Prince Neil, can hear it. But in order to tell them how to do it, she wanted the breath. She said that human breath, well, live breath, is a lot on the black market. So I'm wondering what she's going to use the breath for, because Prince Charming gave her his breath, and I'm wondering if she's going to somehow sell it to someone who's going to use it against them. I'm not sure. I feel like that's a story in and of itself. But yeah, the best part about this episode, though, was that Robin Hood was able to track down Zelena in the forest with Regina, and, you know, she's like,
I just want to feed my baby.
and they're all like, fine, you can feed her, but that's it. And Regina really tells her that, like,
Honestly, I was just like you, and I was so angry, and I had so much hatred, but it wasn't until my enemies became my family, and I found out what true love was, again, because remember, she had true love with Daniel, that I truly, you know, was happy.
and Zelena's like, yeah, whatever, just, I want my baby. So Zelena gets, like, a little spark of magic, and they're like, Zelena, give back the baby. And she's like, no, never. And she goes like this, and, like, freezes them, or, like, blast them back or something, and she takes off into the woods. Now the baby starts crying, and Zelena sees that she has a cut on her face, and she realizes that she got the cut from her magic. And now Zelena feels absolutely horrid, because it's like she hurt the one thing that she loves the most. So, since this is Underbrook that they're all in, there's an alternative, like, version of everything. So, Zelena goes back to her house. Robin tracks her down there, along with Belle, and Zelena's in tears, and Zelena comes out, and she says, and I find this very interesting, she says directly to Regina,
Regina, take care of my baby. I thought I could protect her, but I honestly can't, not here. So take her, take care of her.
and Regina said, I will. And I found it very ironic that she said Regina specifically, and not Regina and Robin, or not Robin and our child. No, she said specifically to Regina, and she truly feels horrible. While all this is going on, Hook and Swan are back at their parents' Underbrook version of their apartment with Henry, and all these stories are popping up, and Hook's getting frustrated. He's like, yo, I thought that you were going to be writing a way for us to get to Hades, and freaking Henry's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't remember writing these. Like, they just magically appear. I don't know what is happening. And so his mom started giving him, like, hypothesis and ideas and stuff like that, and he starts to get frustrated. He's
Like, okay, so all of you guys are the author. Guess what? I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna work on this by myself because I'm trying my hardest and clearly you don't appreciate that.
and Emma's like,
Well, I guess we have a teenager on our hands.
there's not really much, I guess she could say. And Zelena tells them the story of what happened between her and Hades. And then it was like this really weird scene where Hades is just standing in Underbrook like this. And you're just like, yo, why? Like, I started hysterically laughing because I couldn't figure out why homeboy was just standing there like that. And he's standing there, and Zelena walks in, and he's like,
Zelena.
and then they kind of like reunite, and Zelena's like, I know you want my baby, but you can't have her. And he gives her this whole spiel about still being in love with her and how he created Underbrook for her. And when they first met, she was in front of a cupcake blowing out a candle, and he assumed that she was celebrating a birthday. And she was like,
I don't know my birthday. I only know when my mother left me.
so he goes, April 15th. And she's like, what? Because she starts to walk away from him. And she's like, what? And he's like, April 15th, that's when you were born. And she was like, how did you know that? And he said, oh, that was something else that I did for you. I tortured a miller's daughter. So he's making it seem like all this stuff he's doing for her, when in reality, we all know that Hades is a manipulative bastard. Excuse my language, but he is. So he's lying to her. And Zelena is smart enough to be like,
No, I don't trust you. I really wish that I could, but I know that I can't.
and Zelena's like a smarter version of Belle. She's in love with Hades, which is very evident. But she knows that Hades is just no good. And she's just staying away no matter how hard it is for her. The scene goes to the apartment of Snow and Charming, and basically the stories start being written again, and Henry shows them, and it shows the love affair between Hades and Zelena, and what they need and everything else. And it says that baby Neil basically heard them talk through, you know, the payphone. And so Snow White is now determined more than ever to defeat Hades and get back home. And in the promo for next Sunday's episode, it is inferred that he's not getting Zelina's baby, so he's gonna take Belle's baby. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I can't wait for next week's episode. I can't wait. You guys are so awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring. I post videos regularly every Sunday and every Tuesday. And anything in between are special surprise episodes for my Merpod. My GiGi Meister Merpod. Love you guys so much. I hope you enjoy my review. As always, follow the links down below to follow me on all my social medias. I also have an ask.fm where you can ask me loads of questions and we can interact even more. And if there's anything you ever want to see, listed down below. Loves and likes ya. Bye!